he noticed the movements that was happening, contractors and everything else. We sat down, we had lunch one day. He said, hey, I want to do business with you. So he became essentially my first private lender to my real estate deals. And I didn't know at the time he was arbitraging capital.
You're listening to Flip Empire, the show committed to helping real estate entrepreneurs who want to build their empire without sacrificing their life. Your success and freedom starts now with your host, Alex Pardo.
Let's talk about raising capital, because, one of the things I learned early on is you need to dig your well before you're thirsty. And I don't know what your thoughts are. Everybody's kind of got a little bit of a different opinion on, what's going to happen with this real estate market on a macro level, and then, micro and local market. Like, what's going to happen over the course of the next 6 to 24 months with our market? And I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. But the concept of digging your well before you're thirsty, when you have access to private capital, this business becomes so much easier.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about, obviously you have a fund, and so you're an expert at raising capital. So talk about it. And I realize I'm kind of throwing a big picture, very generalized question, but we can start to drill down from there.
Yeah, raising capital is a whole nother business, right? So for those of you who are just getting started, or, you already got started and you got a couple of flips or a couple of rentals under your belt, we always ask ourselves the questions, how can I do more, right? And of course, people think, okay, I need more money to do more deals, or I need more deals and I have the money. So you really, in this business, to be successful, you need to have three things: the place to buy your inventory, lead gen, you need the capital to buy, and you got to be able to scale efficiently to get better instead of bigger. So once you have those three things in place, it's just constantly tweaking the systems. How can you get better? How can you get better? How can you get better? Going back to raising capital, my first private capital deal was I had leased an office space, and the owner of the office space basically, he had in the 2000 boom, the .com boom, he cashed out his chips. He, was very well off. He went and bought a commercial building, which I rented an office in, and he noticed the movement that was happening, contractors and everything else. We sat down, we had lunch one day. He said, hey, I want to do business with you. So he became essentially my first private lender to my real estate deals. And I didn't know at the time he was arbitraging capital, meaning that instead of using his capital, he had good credit. He'll go get a line of credit for a couple $100,000, maybe at 4%, and lend it to me back then at 10%. Yeah. Right. He was giving me small increments, 50,000, 25,000, 100,000, stuff like that. And we did our first couple of deals that way. Then I tapped into some hard money. And then I would leverage the hard money, combine them both with a blended interest, somewhere around 12%. And that was what helped me do a lot of deals. Fast forward when the market crashed, pay back all my hard money lenders, the few other investors that I had developed on that time. And what I realized is that what the private investors like is transparency and communication. Yeah. Right. Of course, you're going to pay them on time, because they're not going to lend you again if you're ever late with a payment. So for me, the transparency was going out, recording the process. He was local, so he got to meet me at different phases of the construction projects and paying him on the timeline that we set. Usually we set maybe 6 months or 1 year, and constantly executing, building a track record with this one investor, and then utilizing them as a resource that other investors that want to do business with me to contact and ask, how was the business, so on and so forth. Then basically, once we did business for over a year, hey, you have other friends who may be interested, you can introduce them, and start to build my book of business with private investors that way, by just being transparent, doing what I said I was going to do, paying on time. And also there's a few other touches that you do, holiday gifts and things like that. You might want to hold quarterly meetings once you get to a certain level, and do presentations to let them know what you're doing with the capital, what your future plans are, maybe some management discussion, analysis, things. And then as you grow, then you can start sending email and everything else. So that's how the ground roots started with private investing. After the market crashed, everybody was scared, so nobody was lending any money.